Okay, good evening, good morning. What time of day you watching this video, where you're watching the world. Well, today's day was not got off to a very bad start this morning. My lady friend had a tension and that because she asked for medication and that, with names I can't refer, but, that really got my day bad start. Then I went down to St. Pat's to get a bag lunch with mine. But I walked over, what I did is I went around, I know I did. I went around the corner. I know the white statue of Virgin Mary, so I thought maybe I asked her. Maybe I asked God for an answer to this. Well, I did. Well, I prayed that my lady friend get back on her medication, basically. I know what now, I know she's like off the medication. She's not the person I know right now. Totally different person. Anyway, so that got me going. Well, I was thinking about doing a few other things, decided not to. She got me wound up enough that I wanted to go down and just knock a cent, and I had to refrain myself to. Now, that's what it was. Well, anyways, so that's one thing my day went by. Another thing was me thinking about going to Noblesville, and there's so many people crowded. I couldn't believe how many people. Why suddenly stopping like crazy? I mean, people are afraid of the lockdown. People are afraid of Hamilton going another phase 2, like maybe going to phase 2 on Burton Hilton County, maybe going into a phase 2 on Tuesday. So, I don't know what can happen there. I Doug Ford, on the case number going up. And I don't want to see that happening in Hamilton because that gets me worried too. What can happen if, our case number goes way up to the roof. Doug Ford, Hamilton, go modify stage 2. I go to London, and they tell me, sorry, sir, you can't eat here because you live in Hamilton, the high coronavirus there. And I go, no, well, sorry, you can't eat here because you live in Hamilton. Oh, my God. What am I going to do in London? I'll be really pissed, because I'll have to figure out something. That's another worst thing. I can see that coming. In London, I see that happening. If that happens there, I see that's going to happen in London. Well, I don't want to see that happen. I really don't want coronavirus. I really don't want to see that, We got into stage 3. I don't want to go back. Hamilton don't want to go back. I mean, Burton, they don't want to go back. But the numbers are getting up there. The numbers in Toronto, people just don't know when they're feeling sick. They go and have a few beers at the bar. They go out, but they can't just go to patios. They can't go in the bar. Let's drive down to London. Let's drive to Hamilton. We could bars. Let's go to Oakville. Bars open, get a few beers. All of a sudden, the numbers skyrocket. All of a sudden, they in phase 2 modification. Then the people are sitting there, let's go Hamilton, bar open. Do the same thing. Boom, number goes up. We get notified. And that verse, et cetera. I had to go further away to get that beer. So, if you live in Toronto, just don't do that, You are just going to causing more trouble and getting this under control than anything else. That's all you're doing is causing numbers go up. If you really feel sick in Toronto, and you have all kinds of lost taste, sense of smell, and you just don't take a cold. You could have coronavirus, so you may not want to go out. If you're not feeling well, don't go out. And if you do test, you do test and find out you do have it, do yourself a favor. Stay home. Get it? I don't want infection here. I don't want to see me go in phase 2. Now, that's the whole damn thing. Just do yourself a favor, because if you keep doing this, you're gonna, you know what? They can be bars to go drink anymore. Well, it can be a lot worse than that, Like we could do Doug Ford, you could call the military in and really surround the city of Oakville and Toronto and forbid anybody from exiting off the highway there. and it can, unless you, and it could actually prevent anybody from exiting highway in Hamilton or right up the mountain, almost into Ancap, exiting off a highway there. You have to main on a highway into to a phase 2 area. Try to leave that phase 2 area, be turned back by military. And that may be happening if things don't start up soon. I see it happening. Keep you on a highway, not let you exit, and only letting you exit in by that. And then you can't exit until you get to way, and then that means less you are and if you come off a GO train, then maybe check your ID, make sure you're not a resident of a making sure you are a resident of Toronto, a resident of Burton, thing like that. Make you a Hamilton resident coming in Hamilton. You know what may happen too? It may go off be a rail train Aldershot, and there'll be a military there checking my ID, and I'll be, well, I'll show my photo card, not a card. I'll cooperate with the military because that's, and don't mess around them because, well, I'm heading home to Hamilton from London, and then they would say, okay, that's fine. If London, Hamilton not in the phase 2 modified, but that could be happening. So we better not be thinking about it right now. I would rather you think about, getting over this and having it be, and when December comes, you could be happy. But I don't think, you'd be able to shop any Christmas presents. So Christmas may not be so good for a lot of people this year either. It can be hard. Because if it's in the modified phase 2, nobody can get Christmas shopping done. And then all of a sudden, when they do get out of that, and late in December, guess what? It'll be almost 2 weeks for Christmas. Everybody hitting them all. Boom, we get a number of boom, like that. Explosion back in modified phase 2. Bang, it ain't really worth that. Even if you don't feel sick, you got a cough, you got a fever, just stay home. Don't spread it to somebody else. Because, honestly, think about it. How would, say, somebody, guy driving that Toronto Transit bus, or the GO Transit guy driving that GO Transit operating, sitting in the cab of GO train, operating that train, or the bus driver that just drove you home on a city bus, or a GO Transit driver just got you to the bus terminal, picked up you at bus terminal, and he get coronavirus. How that driver going to support his family? How that restaurant employee going to support her family? How that restaurant owner going to support his restaurant, his business, and be in the hospital on a ventilator because he got coronavirus. Ever think of that? How are you going to support yourself? You end up on a ventilator. How are you going to do it? If I end up on a ventilator, I would not be able to pay my rent in this apartment I'm living in. I probably would come off it, end up homeless at that point, and be forced to go to Elizabeth's house because rent won't get paid. Well, these are things I not really want to look into. It's things I don't want to think about. That's a scary fact there. Real scary thing. Think about this. How would you support your family if you were doing a job if you're sitting behind the wheel, driving a city bus somewhere in Toronto or Burton, whether you're driving that bus or that subway train in Toronto or the LRT in Toronto? Think about it. How would you support your family if you ended up with coronavirus on a job? You got it from the workplace. How would you support your family? I think you go bankrupt. And on top of that, how would the bus driver on H.S. for her family from that bus driver would be driven into bankruptcy because if I had to declare personal bankruptcy, and by the time you get the money from the federal government, it's a little too late. It goes into paying all the bills back, paying the debt that he carried when he's in the hospital on a ventilator. See? Think of those things, because someday you'll get coronavirus. Someday you might go bar and get drunk, and all of a sudden you find yourself in the hospital, and then you end up on a ventilator because you got coronavirus, and we all got sick in that park, and you just spread it them. Think about it. Don't freaking do that. You could spread. If you're not feeling well, you got a sore throat. You lost your smell 10 taste, and you just feel real sick, I would recommend you to is to not go out, stay home. 14 days, self-quarantine immediately. And if you really get to a point where you cannot breathe anymore, the proper, respiratory thing into your lung, then another thing, get yourself to a freaking hospital, and might be ventilated at that point. May have to be incubated and ventilated. Now, unfortunately, you're gonna work. You're gonna lose your job when that happens. You won't be able to work. You come off and you're never gonna work again. You're gonna be stuck, on some kind of social system, right? And all because that person that got on their city bus disinfected that driver. That driver can't work because he had to, because the ventilator, when a person goes on a ventilator, it leaves a lifetime side effects. The person had trouble with properly attaining oxygen in their lungs. The cells inside the lung cannot absorb the oxygen required to go in the bloodstream. And inside the lung, the cells absorb the oxygen and put it into your bloodstream, your body, to feed parts of your body that need oxygen, like your brain. And when you're on a ventilator, when a person gets coronavirus, they have to be put on a ventilator at a very high suction. That suction destroys those cellular membranes within the lungs that produces, the oxygen in the blood. So when you do come off ventilator, when you do come off, you have all kinds of problems with trying to get proper air, lightheadedness all the time. You might have severe brain damage from the brain makes it really damaged from lack of oxygen too. So think about that. Are you gonna put somebody through that kind of hell? Are you gonna put the person through that kind of hell? And you're not gonna, that person is disabled for the rest of their life because you weren't infected when you infect them. See? That is no joke. Think about it. That's serious what I'm telling you now. Very serious. Don't frickin' do this if you feel sick. Stay home. This way you won't affect somebody else, and that person can go home safe to family and go back to work the next day, live for many years to come, and might see the end of it. I hope I see the end of this soon. I'm getting tired of it. Gone since March. We had all the day long. I can't even go to my show. I feel I'd like to see the end of it, but who knows what's going to happen too, and I see it coming. I can see the government sometime in the future, maybe sometime within 2021, I see a vaccine coming out, which I do know that's going to happen. It's going to be very successful, because I had a vision of this. I had a vision of a vaccine coming out in 2021. I had a dream that all of a sudden the numbers just started dropping out like crazy down to next to nothing. And all of a sudden, Trudeau and the president and President Ford said in there, we declare the border open. Our cases are zero. Your cases are number down. And Doug Ford and all of a sudden, Mr. Trudeau said, we declare the coronavirus over in Canada. Doug Ford said, we declare it over here within Ontario. All the front are declare over. All of a sudden, you get a huge influx of people coming out of the homes in the vehicle, partying like you have never seen in my life. I see a huge party like people never seen like that. People be celebrating a victory and be celebrating a huge win. Not only would be celebrating win here, it'd be celebrating both sides. It could be bigger than what happened when World War II ended. There was a huge celebration there too. And some people that came home from World War II, now, all of a sudden, I can see a huge main celebration. People be celebrating like crazy. And that could turn into riots too now. Could it? Yeah. But so that really gotta be careful, because while people are celebrating and be happy, then all of a sudden, when the celebration, when that dies down, they're going to be heroes. And they're going to be people going to be notified. And that day, I'll be going on. That day, I'll be sitting doing a radio show on CFNU. It's going to be a peacemaker journey, all right, but it'll be about what I experienced for 2 years, see? It'll be what I have experienced, because when the celebration done, I'll be talking about what people I had experienced. And I'll be telling my stories, and people going to listen, and then they're not going to forget it, and they're going to be there forever, see? Well, I should be crying, but I see it coming, and I see it coming sometime in 2020. I can't even know when, but I had a vision of 2020 was going to happen. Well, last night I dreamt about it, and I woke up and I realized it's not even there yet. So isn't that weird? It happened around March, sometime in March in 2020. Sometime in March in 2021. This happened. It was really the biggest celebration ever. People were out and they were shopping in malls, bursting at seams, people out shopping at stores. I dreamt that, a friend that owned a City Fresh store sold out within 2 hours, everything I bought. He was so happy. And I dreamt a crooked landlord thrown behind bars too. My dream. That was a weird dream, but everybody all of a sudden. I see it coming when this happened. It's not going to be, and it's going to be huge. It's going to unite Canada and the United States to become very strong. Canada and the U.S. become our most strongest leaders, world leaders. And Canada, the United States, and Britain will become real strong leaders in this. And all of a sudden, the other countries realize there'll be form a unification among nations. That we form what I see coming is a great law of peace here. Iroquois Confederacy was designed with a great law of peace. I see all that coming into a huge, tremendous global plan. There'll be something that we have never signed will be at peace with the United States. And we be at peace with other nations at peace with other nations. And then all of a sudden, it will be a confederacy of not the 6 nations, not the 5 nations. I can see every nation in the world being part of a confederacy that is so big that even 6 nations will be a part of it as well. So I see it coming. It'll be a huge thing. And that confederacy can go around the world. And that confederacy don't die. Actually, confederacies never die. Empires will fall. And they fall hard. Like you look at the Russian Empire, it's falling hard, But you look at a confederacy, like Confederate soldiers, like even the United States, there's still some pockets of Confederate soldiers. It's been deep in the United States that are still out there, but they don't tell. We don't know. They try to fit in with the unionized soldiers at the union armies, union soldiers. So you got but the United States Empire, never gonna fall. It could fall down, but a confederacy, even look at a confederacy of 6 nations, it never dies. 7 feet don't die. It lives on forever. So if a confederacy ever started here in Canada, like a huge, gigantic confederacy of many people, of many nations, you know what? See, now the United States is part of it now. And even all world countries are part of the confederacy. It could go on hundreds and thousands of years on here and could bring the earth into the United States. Bring the earth become united at that point. Whole entire planet united. All the people, all professors work on building better, more faster spaceship, go explore the galaxy further. And I predict my lifetime, and I predict maybe in 20 years from now, the next 20 or 30 years in the future, you know what I predict? I predict the first intergalactic starship will be launched. The first intergalactic starship be launched will be built and go deep space. Go out and explore strange new world and undiscovered and galaxy never explored before. And they're gonna meet people out there, and we're gonna spend out. By that, when we get in that state of without doing that type of warp space travel, that's where other worlds will come in and they see what we're doing and they will help us. But right now, where we are now, any intelligent civilization in the galaxy out there, in other galaxies, will not even think about making contact. They might be making for contact now because of coronavirus, but helping have vaccine. They may have it, but and they're helping us with it, but they would otherwise, they won't make it. How to make first contact on this planet? All they do is they could come down at ordinary humans like me and interact with people, stuff like that. Interact and may approach professors and scientists at universities, talk to them before they even make contact with any nation or United Nations. See, they could make contact with and the professors are ones that would understand this too, and not just or make contact with astronauts at Cape Kennedy, and they would understand it too. Or wouldn't make contact with military. Try to make contact, they would be shot down or shoot down because that's the way mankind is. Anyways, think about it, because you go out and infect somebody, you are just you're guilty of transmitting a dangerous, you're transmitting a urinary disease that can kill you, that killed the other person, or just made them permanently disabled, that's their life, and you be held responsible for making disabled. Think of that one. If you infect that other person coronavirus, know who be held responsible? You. And that could be constitute in jail time for you if you did that. Could be incarcerated, or you could be, or worse, identified and be taken and put somewhere where you cannot transmit anybody else. Think of that one. Well, please, you could be taken somewhere and not be held against your will. Now, and in the locked up other people, you can't get out. Like you put on a locked ward somewhere, you can't escape. Think of that one, because you just affect the other person. You could be really punished for that. I know the other planet galaxy out there do that. If you did that on planet Riser 7, for example, you know what they do? You infect another person coronavirus, or you infect, and that person infected from you. You're taken into the Riser 7 Council. They will take you, and they will. If you from this planet, you did that. Well, Riser 7 they are right either to return you back to Earth, or they will take you in a room, and what they do, and the punishment on Riser 7 that they be turned into a permanent robot for the rest of their life, turned into an android for eternity. Number 2 is the punishment is you're put out in the universe. You put you out in the universe as a Class G solar star, turn a Class G solar star. And these are punishment for disrespecting that person. Well, anyways, I really shouldn't be saying that, but that's true. I do know it, because I've been there. I've been up there. I've been to the planet with the purple ocean. I took somebody that was here on Earth back there before. I've done that, But space travel, for me, I do know what I'm talking about. Well, I just saying, and even on that planet, they don't they have a cure there for coronavirus on that planet, because they already had it. We are the individual. That cure, that vaccine, it is here on Earth, because it's being tested as we speak. So that will come out in around sometime before, around March, the next year, you're going to see it. Because us time travelers are really working hard to bring an end because we don't want to see people die. I don't want to see people die, and affecting my lady friend as well. Think about that. Anyway, vlog over.